What is up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of the Coangler Chronicles podcast, guys. This is the Coangler Chronicles podcast. I've been talking about it for weeks, maybe months, I'm not sure, but I am excited for the first episode today of the Coangler Chronicles podcast. And I want to thank you for tuning in. If you haven't yet, be sure to hit the subscribe button and like the video if you're watching this on YouTube. After the fact, obviously, if you're listening to it live, I appreciate it being released. It is going to be streamed across multiple platforms. If you do hear that sound in the background, guys, I'm going to try my best to bring you the best content that I can, the best podcast that I can, the experience that I can, all that. But guys, I do have a family, so I do have 4 kids, and there's not much space in my house to get a room just to myself. So my son likes to talk, and he likes to get involved as well when Dad pulls out the camera to film my YouTube videos, etc. He likes to get involved. So if you hear that, he's talking to y'all. That's what he's doing. He's talking to you. He's having a conversation with you. He don't know you. Okay, so but I thank everyone for tuning in to the very first episode, and the music that you hear playing during the intro right now that you were listening to is probably done at this point, is an original song that I recorded, or there's another song that I'm working on as well. So I got 2 different ones I'm going to flip between for the intro here. There's a new song that I'm working on. I've been working on an album now, I feel like, for 11 years, so I plan on releasing that album here soon. So this is kind of just a big picture thing. I plan on doing the podcast and releasing an album, but in this particular case, I'm just I got some of my music playing that I'm working on as well. So all the music is mine. I own all the rights to it. One of the tracks I did produce myself. The other track I did hire a producer for, and he made that track. So who shouts out to him for that track. I'll leave all his link and information in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, or put it in the description for the podcast as well. But in today's episode, for the very first episode of the Coangler Chronicles, I want to just go through, and you see I got a lot of different stuff set up on my desk here that I want to show you guys, and a couple things you can't see that I need you to be able to see, because there's a few people that rock with me this year that I want to let it be known what we got going on. So first and foremost, just want to thank 13 Fishing is a huge integral part of my deal for this upcoming season. I've been with them. This will be my 3rd year now. So 13 Fishing is a huge sponsor for me as an angler, and I'm very thankful for them being on my team here for this upcoming season. Next, I want to thank, you guys can see on the shirt, it's a lot of my stuff over here, Omega Custom Tackle, sponsor for this season. Very excited, very great to be a part of that team. As you can see, I also got one of their baits here, kind of with a very strategically placed trophy that we'll talk about. Honestly, this is the Coangler Chronicles podcast, so we're gonna be talking about a lot of this stuff. So, but this is one of the baits. This is the exact bait that I used to win this trophy that you see right in front of you. Was this spinnerbait by Omega Custom Tackle. It's called the Genesis spinnerbait. So I'm very thankful for Omega Custom Tackle and them getting on board. Taylor, the owners there, really working with me, and before them, Brad and Michelle Fuller as well. So I'm very, very thankful for Omega for giving me a chance and working with me. Here you see I got what's called, I believe, Torrege, I don't know how you say that, but sunglasses. Very excited about that. It's kind of like a collab. I wouldn't say it's a deal. It's more of a collab with them to produce some content, and then I get the glasses. So very excited about that. And new for me as well. Hope you guys can see that. But this is Bassandfurious America. Again, I'm showing the stuff to the camera. If you're listening to the podcast, I'm showing stuff to the camera. So watch it on YouTube too if you want to see all the stuff I'm talking about. But Bassandfurious Americas. They are a line company, fishing line. They've also gotten the hooks here recently, but high grade, top of the line. This stuff is power, finesse. They got braid, they got fluorocarbon, guys. They got it all. They cover multiple species. So be sure to check that out. Bassandfurious Americas if you're looking for line. There's a lot of line companies out there, but when you find one that you can rock with, that you can deal with, that has the high quality stuff you're looking for, man, that's what I found here in Bassandfurious. So be sure to check that out. Now that I got all that out of the way, I want to go ahead and kind of get into the show. So in this first episode of today's podcast, this is kind of our introductory podcast here and actually, let me slide this stuff out the way now, just up a little bit so we can chat. All right, so in today's episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking about. I want to start off. I want to start off with just doing this kind of basic. I don't have any guests for this one. I don't have anything. It's just going to be me talking a little bit, kind of sharing some stuff. So, I want to say a lot of the questions I get from people, and I would say this is like probably half, is of the questions I get. It's a good chunk. The questions I get are, how do I become a co-angler? So what I felt like the only right to start off the Coangler Chronicles podcast by telling you how to be a co-angler. So some people, when you say co-angler, they don't even know what you mean. Co-angler, what's that? So we'll kind of list that. Co-angler. So basically, co-angler meaning the person that fishes from the back of the boat. So sometimes you hear them called to as a non-boater. Some people, the disrespectful ones, call them a rider. Like this is an Uber, okay, but rider, non-boater, co-angler, guy in the back of the boat, hey you, okay, so there's a lot of different names that are used for the co-angler. So what is a co-angler? It's basically the guy in the back of the boat. It's not the guy in the front of the boat. It's not the guy driving the boat. It's the guy in the back of the boat. Now you say, okay, well, when I go fishing with my grandpa, am I a co-angler? If you're in the back of the boat, technically, yes, you're a co-angler. You're a non-boater. You're not driving the boat. You're the guy that's in the back of the boat. The definitions kind of vary and change as it relates to what it is that you're doing. So if you're going out with your grandpa, y'all just going fishing. You don't need names or titles, right? That's just kind of silly. But the titles come into play when you get into tournament fishing, and that's kind of where my podcast is geared towards, is tournament fishing. So when you're tournament fishing, you're considered a non-boater versus a boater. That way you know who you're competing against, right? So a non-boater doesn't compete against a boater in a tournament. That's not how these tournaments work. It's non-boaters compete against other non-boaters. Co-anglers compete against other co-anglers. So if you're fishing, there's different trails you can sign up. So like, how do I get in to be a co-angler? Here's the thing. There's no skill requirement. There's no equipment requirement. You don't even have to honestly know what a bass looks like to sign up as a co-angler in these tournaments. Basically, you go online. So we're going to do that. We're going to show, and for those of you that are watching on, YouTube, you're going to see this. For those of you that are listening, you're going to see I am recording. So I'm going to take a second here. I'll probably do the audio different on here. So basically what it comes down to is, if you're a co-angler, and I'm gonna go right to where you got to go to. So co-angler, I'm going to go to the online, right? We're online. I want to fish a tournament, and my site's going to pull up right away. So basically this is what you do. You go to www. whatever trail it is that you're fishing. Okay? I did Major League Fishing right now. Okay? So what it's going to say is Major League Fishing. I'm going to go up here or go down here. It says register for an event. Okay, it says register for an event. That's next. I'm walking you through it if I'm on the podcast. Register for an event. I click on that. Basically, I find what body of water I want to go to. So all upcoming tournaments, all divisions. So I know that I live here in Virginia, but let's just go to the Bulldog division. So I want to be a co-angler in a tournament. This is what I do. I go to MajorLeagueFishing.com. I go to register for an event. I find my division, my state. You may got to search through a bunch to find your state, but so right here says there's a tournament on Lake Okonochi, Lake Oconee. All I do is go over here, hit sign up. It'll take me to it. It asks me, do I want to be a boater or do I want to be a Strike King co-angler? I choose my option. It says it's going to cost me $113. I go down here. I hit next. I pay for it. Complete order. Use the card I have on file. And I'm going to hop out of this before I do anything crazy. That's it. Basically, if I wanted to fish that tournament, all I had to do was the steps that I just walked through. So if you're a co-angler, boater, non-boater, whatever the case may be. Obviously, if you're a boater, I'm pretty sure you got that process down. You got to do, but it's the same thing. There's no requirement for a lot of these trails that a lot of these guys that you see are fishing. BFLs, Toyota Series, Bassmaster Opens, all the different organizations out here. Your local club that you have, their rules might be different to be a co-angler in your local club. I fished for a bass club one time. You had to sign up You had to be a member. Same thing with these things. Like I said, I've registered for an event, but I guess I'll back up just a tad. Before you can register for an event, you have to be a competitor member. So you have to be a competitor member. So that would be like if you had one requirement, you have to pay for a membership to be a part of the organization you want to be in. But that's normal. Like if you want to be part of, you got to pay for a membership. So in order to sign up for a tournament, you have to go onto the website. You have to sign up to be a member. Okay, that's one. Sign up to be a member. Honestly, it'll tell you if you're not a member when you're walking through, because they can't give you a tournament if you're not a member. So you get to be a member. Find whatever tournament you want to fish at. Click register now. Pay your money. The membership sometimes can range from as little as $25 to like $75 for a membership, but that's an annual deal. So you pay that membership fee, and then you can fish whatever event that you want. You just can't. So basically, you can't be a co-angler in the Bassmaster Elite Series because they don't have co-anglers. You can't be a co-angler in the Bass Pro Tour event because they don't have co-anglers. Now, with my podcast, I'm going to assume that if you're tuned into my Coangler Chronicles podcast, that you are at least remotely familiar with some fishing, like Kevin Van Dam and Gerald Swindle. You're at least familiar with, there are guys that fish on TV. There's a way to get to that level. A lot of the way to get to that level starts with what I'm telling you right now. You have to get into a tournament. If you want to get up there, you got to enter. There's steps outlined to get you from here to there. And I hope I'm not confusing. I'm hoping I'm keeping this pretty simple and pretty basic so everybody can understand. Because I do understand some of you just picked up a rod and reel yesterday, and somehow you got on my channel and you want to start fishing. You want to sign up for a tournament. What I just told you just now is you got your rod and reel. Now you need to find a computer or get to your cell phone. Go on to the site. Find the tournament that's in your town. MajorLeagueFishing.com. Bassmaster.com, whatever your club trail is. Reach out to the local chapter in your area and say, hey, I'm trying to fish a tournament. I want to join a club, that type of thing, so they can walk you through the steps to get you in that way. Now, like I said, if you sign up as a boater, that's it. You got to show up with a boat. You have to be ready. Your boat has to have certain requirements, and then you can fish. A lot of guys asked me all last year about, or for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years now. I had my boat for 6 years. They asked me why I didn't fish as a boater in some of the bigger tournaments. I fish as a boater, and like 60% of my schedule was me fishing as a boater. 40% was me fishing as a co-angler. So I think it's really funny when people say, oh, you're a co-angler. I'm like, yes, I'm a co-angler because I choose to be a co-angler. But I'm also a boater. And if you want to put boats in the water and you don't have any weird boat rules, I'll take my boat out here and I'll work you over. It's not that big a deal. That's just me, guys. I don't know. I guess I probably should say that about me because some of you may not know me at all. Speaking of which, it's the perfect time to introduce myself. My name is Ty. You guys may have seen me on Instagram. You may have seen me on TikTok. You may have seen me all over the place. You may not have ever seen or heard of me at all. My name is Ty. I am 41 years old. I'm a tournament bass angler. I've been fishing competitively for, this would be my 4th year fishing competitively. 3rd full year fishing competitively. The first year I kind of halfway did it, but I still qualified for the regional. Just want to point that out. And then I've been fishing competitively. This will be my now 3rd year doing it, full year of competing. I've made quite a bit of money fishing. I've lost quite a bit of money fishing. I've made some really good friends fishing. I've made some pretty good friends fishing. I've made some like okay friends fishing. Some people I never want to see again, ever. But I still love them, and the Lord loves them as well. But I don't need to see them ever again. So throughout this fishing journey, it's been pretty cool, exciting. But like I said, my name's Ty. I am a married father of 4. I've been married now for 18 years. I have 4 kids ranging from ages 16, 12, 11, and a 3-year-old. Okay, I have all the spectrum covered. Working on trying to get one son into college and working on another son to make him not pee in his diaper and actually go to the potty. And he does really good with peeing in the potty. So I have a very interesting family dynamic. I work, I think, like 4 different jobs. I'm very thankful to God for the jobs. You guys will hear me say that a lot on the podcast as well. I'm very thankful for a lot of things in life. There's a lot of things that could go different ways. There's some people that just went to the Walmart the other day and they didn't make it back home. So I have a lot to be thankful for, and that will come across in my podcast. I try not to overload, but it is what it is, man. I'm thankful, and I believe in sharing that I am thankful with everyone for the good news and spreading the good news across everywhere, because that's just how I believe. That's how I am. And it's very important to me. Family, faith, religion, bass fishing. Okay, very important to me. So I'm very thankful for that. And but that's me. And if you don't know anything about me, that's it. I have a win at the BFL level as a co-angler on a body of water that's not even anywhere near me, but it's a phenomenal place. And I go there. I've cashed, I think, 4 out of 6 checks on this body of water. Me and it just are like best friends ever. I think I cashed like 8 or 9 times over the last 2 years, I believe, somewhere in that realm, in the tournament, in the BFLs and things like that. I've cashed at the regional now as well. I missed a check by 1 spot one time. That was unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. And I have a win. I have 2 top 10s, 2 or 3 top 20s, and I've got 170th. I've got a 202nd at a Bassmaster Open because I got disqualified. Me and my boater got disqualified. Twice, me and my boater got disqualified. So I have stories to tell. I'm so glad that everyone tuned into this episode. For the initial episode, trust me, I'm getting the basics. I'm laying the groundwork, and then we gonna dig in. So I really hope that you stick with me during this journey. I have at least 8 guests lined up. We got all kinds of different topics. I got everything from your top level angler, your tournament winners, guys that ain't even fished tournaments before, guys that want to get into tournament fishing, business owners in the fishing industry. I mean, guys, I've got everything lined up, and I got some other stuff that I'm going to work on as well. I want to include a lot of stuff in here, man. And on mine, I don't want to be that guy that, like, okay, so you know how like ESPN will bring on the guy who made the hot shot at won the tournament. They're going to bring on Deion Sanders. They're going to bring on Prime. They're going to bring in Patrick Beverly, who lands his big NBA deal and doesn't mind saying whatever he wants on TV. You got Shaq and Charles Barkley over here, where they're just saying whatever it is they want to say on their channel. Like, they keep them with the big contracts and the money. I don't want to be that. Okay, I don't want to always only have that creme de la creme guy on here, man. I want people on here that's real people like myself, because a lot of times you'll find that, like, this is what's going to help you, right? Like, talking to people that are like you, that are going to help you, that have a dream, that have a goal, that are trying to get there, so you can understand what they go through, what they deal with to try to get to the level that they want to get to. That is important to me. It's important to me to talk to those people. It's important to me to talk to people that went from here to here. People that went from here to here. And by here to here, I'm saying they went low to high, and then ones that went high to low. It's important to talk to all of them, because I feel like sometimes situations it's not even about the actual situation. It's about how you handle it and how you bounce back from it. So that's very important to me. I don't plan on just doing talking on some of them. Sometimes I am going to hop on and possibly, rant, because I do have some stuff that happens. I plan on doing podcasts after tournaments, stuff like that, just kind of talking to you guys about my day. A lot of times, I'll be 100% transparent in this particular podcast episode, because I really want you guys to stick with me. There's a lot of times where I get back from a tournament and I will share an Instagram post that says, great day, had a blast, didn't get the win, but I'm looking forward to the next one. And I'll put a picture of me holding up a couple fish and be like, okay, if you only knew the 16 different ones I wanted to post before I shared that one, that's the info you're going to get on this podcast. The 16 that I was going to type, that's what you're going to get. Because there's a range of emotions that come through before I share one little post. There's a range of emotions that comes. I can't believe this happened. Why did this go? What in the world is happening? Like, there's a whole range of, and that was only 3 out of 16, range of emotions. There's so many of those that go on, and I want to get those out, and I want to express those and kind of just see. That's what I say. I want these guests on. There's so many experiences that these co-anglers have that if people knew, they may not ever fish a tournament again. And if people knew, more people may sign up to fish tournaments because they understand. Like me, I've had some tournaments that made me, mid-tournament, I wanted to sell all my fishing equipment, give up fishing, and never, ever, ever, ever do it again. I want to put my for sale sign on my boat when I get home, take all my rods and reels, throw them on eBay or Craigslist for that matter. I don't even care. Get all the stuff out of the house, and then just go back to golf. Like, I don't want to see fishing poles. I don't want to look for a bass. There's some tournaments where it gets that bad. And then there's another tournament where I come home with a check that's bigger than my work monthly paycheck for 2 months. Literally, you won something like this, and I didn't have to work another day for the next 3 months, thanks to catching 5 fish. You understand that? And I feel like some people don't know that when they're getting into tournaments. A lot of people always ask me, what am I doing with the fish? Can you bring the fish by so I can cook the fish? Can you do, we want to eat some crappie or something like, that's fine, because crappie don't make me no money. But for the bass that I catch, they make me money. They put money on the fish. Like the family I told you guys about, them 4 wonderful people. When I go fish and I do really well at fishing and I make a check for fishing, that means now my kids gonna get to go somewhere a little bit different today. Like they can actually go, we can do a little bit of something fun, because I still got my work money. I still work a regular job. I mentioned I work 4 jobs, right? So I can work a regular job, but this money right here can go to do something that we can all do that's really fun. Usually if I ever win or ever do well, I do something nice for my family. Whether we go out to eat, get something for somebody that they wanted something for a while, I always try to use that money for something fun. There has been times where I used it to pay for something that was coming up that I need to pay for. But either way, whatever I use it for, that's what you use it for, right? This is the stuff I want to talk to y'all about, because there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh man, this is going on, and it just looks like this. They paint a picture that looks like this. And it's like, nah, man, that ain't how it really goes down. That's not really what's happening. Sometimes, and then you see the other story about the real guys that are like, they made $101,000, but they paid $102,000 in expenses for that year. Literally, they didn't make a dime. But it looks like it's all great. And I'm telling you, there's a whole nother side to it. And people need, basically what my job is and my goal is and what I've kind of taken on is that there needs to be a realistic perspective regarding bass fishing and the industry and where it's headed and what's going on, so that people don't chase this dream and they get there and they're like, I don't have anything. I just won that tournament, but I had to pay it all back because someone staked me for half of my entry fees when I made the Elite Series. They paid for half. Now I got to give them half of my $100,000 check. Oh, then I paid $30,000 in entry fees. Oh shoot, I'm down to $20,000. Oh, and my mortgage is due next month. You're like, what? Or they put it all on a credit card, so now they have $36,000 in credit card debt. You win $100,000. It's travel expenses is like $20,000 or something for the year. So $56,000 is already gone. Then you got to pay the IRS, which is 20%. So that's $20,000, right? So that's $86,000 that's gone. So literally you got $14,000 left out of that. If you pay off your credit card debt and you pay your travel expenses, and then the IRS takes a percentage, you got $20,000 left. Hopefully. That's assuming you didn't buy any Berkeley flatworms, right? Like, and that probably was $1,000 worth of flatworms. So, see what I'm saying? Like, see how quickly that added up? This is the stuff that people don't talk about. So that's what this podcast is for, to talk about this stuff where just dig deep. Coangler, it's called the Coangler Chronicles because I want to gear it towards that way. But trust me, it's going to take on a whole life of itself where we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. And then we're going to just have some fun ones where we just chop it up. So as an introductory one, and this one I wanted to talk to you guys about how to be a co-angler. I'll walk you through that process. Super easy. Sign up. Be sure to comment. Send me a message, whatever the case may be. If you need some help trying to figure it out, I'll gladly help you. Gladly help walk you through it. How to be a co-angler? Sign up. Okay. Pay your membership. Sign up. Super easy. Get out there. Learn. Compete. Have fun. All of those topics we're going to dive into about the actual learning. What should you be learning? How to be competitive. How to actually compete. What to look for. What to target. Little tips and tricks and hacks. And we're going to walk through all of that. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be phenomenal. I thank you guys for coming on the journey with me. This one I want to keep short and sweet because I want to keep you guys engaged and involved. But I'm excited that you guys are with me for this initial one. So thank you all for tuning into an episode of the Coangler Chronicles podcast. This is your host, Ty, also known Bassandfurious. Thank you for tuning in. Always, well, first time. Peace. I'll catch you guys on the next episode.